weight. The bar's got that swing. Glasses clink, hear the ice cubes sing. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie. Chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for a day. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. These bars are our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Vasalut and welcome. Happy Wednesday. We are halfway through it. This is the halfway point of the week, and we've made it this far. And on Wednesdays, WTF Wednesdays, I like to focus on some things that I look at and just go, WTF! We'll talk about that in just a second. First, I want to say hi to every single one of you. Starting with Big Al of Big Al Presents, who echoes WTF awaits us today, Liquid Lunchers. Have a great show, my friends. Welcome, Big Al. Thank you so much for being here. Love of my life comes in to say hi to me and drop the hearts for me. And then ask all of you to like, share, subscribe, become a member. Hey, leave a comment. And if you're feeling generous, maybe gift a membership to somebody else. Because in so doing, of course, you can become a member for as little as $2 a month, but your membership entitles you to a whole host of benefits, including keeping the lights on here. You see how dim these lights are? That's because I'm on a shoestring here. Help me keep the lights on. But seriously, if you enjoy my content and you wanted to continue, I could really, really use your help here. But of course, on the plus side, every Monday is Members Night at the Movies, an exclusive movie stream that the members choose what they're going to watch. So, and we watch it together, virtually speaking, and it's a lot of fun. But check out the memberships. Go in, take a look, see what's being offered there, what the perks are. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it because I am trying to get to 100 members by the end of the year. I'm more than halfway there. Could very well make it by the end of the year with your help. But I'm also trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. That's the one that I thought should be easy, and I'm having the hardest time with the subscriptions. So if you could share out my streams, share out the channel, and ask your friends, hey, you and I like a lot of the same stuff. I like this channel. Maybe you would too. Why don't you consider subscribing to this channel? If every single one of you were to do that, I would hit that 2,000 subscriber mark by the end of the year. I would really, really appreciate that. I know Mark's been having a rough time. He says, Mech, Paul, it is lunchtime. Started my WTF early last night with expensive car repairs, followed by taking Julie out to dinner for her birthday, only to find out the restaurant had suddenly closed. Capped off by a can of spray paint leaking all over the train room floor, resulting in a rust-colored mess. That's killer. That is just killer. I'm working on a video, kind of a bridge between the last Cantina video I did and the big Hasbro one to talk about the power of the Force. And unfortunately, I have realized that my carded Mos Eisley Cantina is completely ruined in that flood I had this past year. Haven't even opened it from the envelope yet, and I could feel how chonky it is, swelled up from the flood. So I'm still suffering pains from that. So I totally get where you're coming from there, Mark. Yes, and Curtis echoes the same sentiment, except in English. Lunchtime. Yes, thank you so much. One of the newest members was gifted a membership yesterday. Jonathon Conroy says, hey, I'll smash the like button and enjoy the show. Absolutely. So glad you're here. Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube, Fluff Chick Productions. Welcome, welcome. Saying hi to each other, which I always love to see. Weekend, what is that? Yeah. I love that. It's a great line from the early episodes of Downton Abbey. Speaking of Downton Abbey, I have just recently obtained for Netter the final what is it called? The grand finale, which I do believe was released in theaters, but we didn't see. So that completes our Downton Abbey collection. We now have the entire run. So let's get to it. Yeah, so there were two articles that I saw, and both of them were like, not necessarily a surprise on this first one, but at the same time, it's kind of heartbreaking, and it still causes me to go, WTF, and I'm going to get to it. You'll see why as soon as I bring it up, why it's not surprising, though. But let's take a look at it. But first, celebrations are important, and Curtis Selby is celebrating 17 months of membership. I'm so sorry, Troy and Mark. I have some books. I would be devastated if something happened to them. Yeah, books are particularly anything that's, a paper product or whatever. Water just kills it, and I know Boomer had this same problem when with the hurricanes. He had some flooding, and absolutely devastated his physical media collection. And I told him, and I started taking this advice after the flood happened here. Look, I'm not making excuses for myself, but I told Boomer, I gave him some grief. I'm like, look, you live in Hurricane Alley, right? This is going to happen to you on an annual or semi-annual basis. You need to plan your storage. Get everything up off the floor, get it into plastic bins, protect it from flooding. I had not done that because I am literally in a great place where flooding is not an issue. I've literally had the street out in front of our house flood when a pipe burst, and you could see the water rise, and it came right up to our front door. Never came any closer, but the entire street was flooded. It was flooded into the forest preserve across the way. The entire parking lot of the school next to us was flooded because it's lower than we are. So it tends to drain that way. So we don't tend to get exterior flooding. The problem was we had an idiot doing plumbing here that trashed a pipe upstairs in the kitchen that flooded down into the basement. Insurance took care of it, but money does not replace fairly irreplaceable stuff. You know what I mean? So I am currently working on getting things into plastic bins. It helps me go through my stuff anyway. So that's a good thing, but also get it safely packed so that one day we can move out of this godforsaken state. And I mean that literally. Yes, high and dry. That is the way to look at it. Anyway, I kind of... Oh, Nate is dropping his customary like, share, subscribe, comment, become a member. And if you were going to give a super chat of $5 or more, why not make that a gifted membership to help our family grow? Absolutely. See, everybody here that's already a member is already thinking along those lines of helping me reach my goal. And boy, he doesn't just say it, right? He puts his money where his keyboard is, I suppose. And he just gifted a membership to friend of the channel, Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips, to help our family grow by one more. Super, super appreciate that, Nate. Thank you so much. So I was transitioning into... this is not a surprise, and you're going to see it as soon as I bring it up. But it's still a little bit heartbreaking. So let's get to it. Star Wars Insider Magazine to be canceled in 2026. Oh, Curtis, who was already so generous with multiple gifted memberships yesterday, has just dropped, oh my gosh, 5 more. Horror Cat Dad, Dean Krantz, CK, the longest running superhero RPG on Earth, Walter Lang, and Keely Chow. See, I feel like some of this, too, is like old home week. It's like you're bringing back family that's kind of wandered off. Super, super appreciate that. That is so encouraging. Thank you so much, Curtis. You are good people. So, Star Wars Insider Magazine was the... Well, let me not bury the lead. Let's get to the article, see what Forrest Manis has to say about this, and then I will give my 2 cents. Let's see here. On Monday, November 10th, Lucasfilm announced that its Star Wars Insider Magazine will officially cancel in 2026 after releasing its 237th issue. Team members have hinted that the decision was spurred on by the public's general disinterest in the franchise, and longtime fans have taken to social media in order to express their deep disappointment. No shocks there. No shocks there. While the announcement article shares plenty of history. It doesn't specify exactly what drove the decision. However, it appears the Star Wars team elected to cancel the Insider series due to a decrease in readership. The report included a quote from editor Chris Cooper, who tacitly blames the internet for public disinterest. I understand that. There's some fairness there, but I'm going to argue against that in just a minute. Insider has been a big part of my Star Wars experience for a very long time, both as a fan and professionally, the editor shared. It's been an honor to explore the galaxy far, far away with our readers during my 8-year tenure, but publishing has changed immeasurably since the Lucas Fan Club magazine, and we live in an increasingly digital age, which sadly means that this chapter in Star Wars Insider history is coming to an end. I certainly share Christopher's sentiment, having shared as editor-in-chief of Insider during the lead-up to Star Wars Revenge of the Sith in 2004 and 2005, and then to edit the magazine for the past 9 years for Lucasfilm Publishing has been the greatest privilege of my life, Rector added. To say the magazine occupies a huge place in my heart is an understatement. This storied serial can trace its roots way back to 1987 as a part of the Star Wars Fan Club. Good. I'm glad I didn't jump the gun on this. I was going to share about this. Back then, a fan vote in the magazine's second volume actually granted it the name Bantha Tracks. The newsletter covered similar topics and its modern counterpart. So just to explain, going back to the 70s, they had a Star Wars fan club that, of course, every grade schooler had to make sure you got into. And it came with a little card, and you had your force number, and it was your membership number. And you got all kinds of little tchotchkes and stickers and patches and so forth. A lot of great exclusive offers. They had a lot of Star Wars memorabilia and Indiana Jones memorabilia too, as I recall. I think the Luke Bespin fatigues were available through the fan club. I can't say I have all of the. I have digital versions of all the Bantha Tracks. Let me explain what Bantha Tracks were, though. This was less of a magazine and more of a fanzine / pamphlet. It was a gatefold pamphlet in 3 parts. It was 8.5 by 11, but do the maths. It was 8.5 by 11. It was the equivalent of 6 pages, 8.5 by 11, 3, 3, and 3. And they opened, in gate format. And it was on like a thicker stock, not quite paper, but not quite, real cardstock. I remember some great interviews in it. There was a great interview with George Lucas. This was back, in the early days between Star Wars and Empire, and he laid out the fact that he had this planned out as 3 sets of 3 trilogies, I guess, or, total of 9 movies. This was about the time when he was getting ready to re-release Star Wars. So that's when they went from Star Wars to A New Hope, the whole episode 4 thing. And so he was basically explaining that. And he gave a lot of the backstory that he had intended for the adventures. The original, so his original plan for the trilogies was that the first 3 movies were the adventures of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the Star Wars Empire and Jedi were collectively the adventures of Luke Skywalker. That kind of got thrown out the window when he decided to turn it all into a story about Anakin rather than about Obi-Wan, but whatever. And he would argue, no, I never said I would do, 3 trilogies. Bullcrap. We got the Bantha tracks. We know. A lot of good little comics in there, what would be memes these days. Anyway, I have fond memories of those old Bantha tracks. And eventually when the fan club rebranded and went to a standard, centerfold magazine. And I do mean centerfold because they literally had like a center page that opened up and had a poster or a map or something like that. They called it Bantha Tracks for a lot of years before it eventually went to Star Wars Insider. But we've always thought of it unofficially as Bantha Tracks. However, after a short run of 35 issues, the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine would replace the series in the same year that it began. This new series broke onto the scene with fresh, glossy covers celebrating the 10th anniversary of Star Wars A New Hope. 7 years later, though, the newsletter experienced yet another overhaul and was renamed Star Wars Insider. The decision was born out of a greater need to make the franchise more accessible as it expanded to ever wider audiences. The title wasn't changed immediately, however. The cover would still retain the old logo for another 22 issues. I will also point out that there was a series of novella-style books that came out from the Star Wars role-playing game that contained, new adventures, new short stories that could be adapted into adventures, new characters with stats and stuff like that, new ships, all kinds of stuff like that. Eventually, that went away and was folded into Star Wars Insider. And there was a little section in there with, a role-playing game adventure and some other stuff like that. I'm going to take a pause so that I can say quick, my angel is a centerfold. Yes, exactly. My memory has just been sold. Yeah, exactly. Outlaw Bill, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. And you guys are all quoting the song. Of course you would be. Let's continue here. Then in 1994, the premiere issue of Star Wars Insider was released, brandishing a vibrant new color. More recently, on November 11th, Titan began selling a series 235th issue celebrating the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens. Yeah, this is why I wasn't aware of it, didn't care. Whatever. In early 2026, Star Wars Insider Volume 237 will hit the shelves as the final edition of the series, marking a historic loss for the iconic brand. I will say this. My Leia is a centerfold. There actually is a great reclined picture of Carrie Fisher in the metal bikini that was a poster. That absolutely would be a great centerfold. Maybe if they had put Rey in a gold bikini, absolutely. They've clearly been looking to subvert your expectations. Every opportunity they've had to do something people would enjoy, they've done the opposite. And this is why, just as this article says, they've pushed the fans away. And that's why these magazines are not selling. Now, speaking to the point that they made about people are getting stuff on the internet now, they're not buying magazines, they're not looking at magazines, whatever. There is still a tried and true collector's market out there that will buy magazines because Gotta catch them all. I'm a collector. I've been collecting since the early 80s. I gotta get every single issue. I understand that mentality. So you will always have those people unless you drive them away from your franchise. And that's exactly where we are with all of this. People, are literally rebelling against Star Wars. And I mean that pun as well. Yeah, see, Horror Cat Dad knows what I'm talking about. Remember a time when I used to get excited for new Star Wars. Then The Last Jedi happened. Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly it. And it's that enthusiasm has literally gone off the deep end since that point. Yeah, but Troy, best small audiences won't make that big a profit off. No, okay, but I wasn't done. I was not done. The other thing is you don't necessarily have to, well, you could do a printed version specifically for that small collectors community. But you can make your fan club magazine, and I'm putting that in inverted commas, an exclusive online access only, right? You're a member of the fan club. You go to the fan club, you enter your membership number, and you get all of the articles that would be in a physical magazine, but only you get them. Look, that Park Place does it too. I'm not logged in right now, but I could log in for exclusive content that only members to the channel receive, right? And there's no reason that Star Wars Insider could not do the same thing. And then turn around and then print those articles in a magazine format to sell via direct access. You get it through the website. You don't have to be, maybe you don't need to be a member to buy the magazine. The store could be open to the public. But, there's a lot of marketing ways you could make this work. To say people aren't buying magazines anymore, in my opinion, is just a friggin' cop-out, is what it is. So what they're really getting at is they are understanding they have driven away the fans. The fan club has basically died because there are no fans left. This is hard numbers, absolutes. They cannot deny it any longer. That's what it really comes down to. And that's the WTF. That, again, not surprising, but still pretty hard hitting. And welcome, Horror King. Always encouraging the way he comes and wants to make sure everyone is included in how he greets everybody. So, that's the first WTF for today. Not a big surprise. We all knew Star Wars was dead. Now, the fan club is essentially going away. That being said, I'm going to refill my drink. Got a couple quick promos. And then when we come back on the other side, this one was absolutely not on my bingo card. We'll catch it in just a second.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This week, on Saturday Night at the Movies, John McClane must race against time to save hundreds of lives, including his wife's, when a group of terrorists take control of Washington Dulles Airport systems and threaten to crash several planes if their demands are not met. It's the beloved Christmas classic sequel, Die Hard 2, this week on Big Al Presents Films with Friends, Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Last Call with Troy Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it elsewhere, but Boomer and Pacelli spin it like only two old geezers can. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
This week on Last Call presents The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. An unknown thief steals an important naval treaty from a Foreign Office clerk. Sherlock Holmes sets out to find it. Fans of our Blake 7 series may recognise guest star Gareth Thomas. It's the naval treaty. This week on Last Call presents, Tuesday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
I'm not going to argue with Big Al on this, but you might want to work on your hashtag game. Maybe make it, shorten it a little bit. Make it, Xmas or something like that. I get what you're getting at with fake Christmas news, but yeah, for a hashtag to catch on, it really does need to be succinct. Santa Mandani will fill free stores with coal. Yeah, exactly. I don't blame Lucas. Look, I think this is a big mistake that people make. It's kind of blaming the victim, right? Well, he shouldn't have sold it. He shouldn't have sold it. He sold it to Disney. Anybody in his position thought it was a good idea. And then he got stabbed in the back. You don't blame the victim for getting stabbed in the back. Just saying. Okay, guys, don't start anything in the chat. Let's keep the holidays as civil as we possibly can, at least among our family. All right, but let's get to this. This isn't a gift that I wanted for the holidays, but WTF. This is just a rumor. Saudi Arabia will bring back the Snyderverse in possible WBD deal. The hell? This one comes to us from Trevor Denning. Jingle bells, New York smells. Well, yeah, but living so close to Chicago, I can't speak about that otherwise. Another big reason he sold Star Wars was all the backlash from the prequels. I don't think he cared about that. He really didn't. And if he did, so much the poorer on him. He used to be all, auteur. I'm going to make my art and I don't care what anyone thinks. THX 1138. He even said after Star Wars, he said, I'm going to spend my time making the movies I want to make. What was the last movie he made? He's done making movies. Just saying. Anyway, let's get to this. The Christmas deadline is nearing for Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav to decide if the company will be sold in part or in whole, and if so, to whom. Surprisingly, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has become a recent contender. Now, sources tell Cosmic Book News, that along with all of the valuable Warner Brothers IPs, Saudi Arabia wants the Snyderverse. Oh, God. Okay. For weeks now, Zack Snyder has been posting pictures from his time at the DCEU on his Instagram. Could he, as Cosmic Book News suggested, be building momentum for the return of the Snyderverse brought to us by Saudi Arabia? So it's very clear how Zack Snyder operates on social media, and this isn't a dig at him. I would do the same thing. You push your personal interests by trying to leverage your reach to, as it said, get some momentum going on an idea that you want to see happen. He wants to see his Snyderverse come back. He's going to court whatever possible outlet there is for that. He's actually been doing it for quite some time. On November 4th, Snyder ignited speculation when he shared a picture of Henry Cavill in costume with the caption 4x5 Polaroid rare color. I love this photo. It is pure Superman. Simply sharing a picture doesn't imply intent, of course. Still, it's enough to excite fans. Yeah, okay. Rumors are circulating that if Warner Brothers Discovery is sold, James Gunn may no longer be in control of DC Studios. The most recent Superman movie struggled to build momentum for the new DCU, while a small but vocal fan base for the Snyderverse remains. Many of them may feel that since the hashtag release the Snyder Cut social media campaign was successful in getting Warner Brothers to fund his version of Justice League, anything is possible. Far-fetched as it may seem, Snyder does have connections to Saudi Arabia. Last March, the director signed a deal with the UFC to produce Brawler. One of the executive producers is Turki Alal Sheikh, who is chairman of the General Entertainment Authority in Saudi Arabia. If anyone has access to the funds to buy WBD and bring back Cavill, Gal Gadot, and Ben Affleck for a Snyderverse reunion, it's probably Alal Sheikh. There you go. Cosmic Book News added, we're told that Hollywood as a whole is also signing massive new deals with the Saudis, including Trump, and figures connected to Trump's circle, like his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. The kingdom wants major entertainment assets, major franchises, and massive theme park IPs. WBD also owns fantasy mega properties like Harry Potter, Dune, and Lord of the Rings, which are properties any studio would undoubtedly like to have those under its umbrella for films and theme parks. DC Studios, even if it doesn't return to the Snyderverse, may be the crown jewel of Saudi Arabia, depending on the kingdom's long-term goals. When news first broke about Saudi Arabia's interest in acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery, there were conflicting reports as to what role it would play. Hollywood producer Patrick Calgiuri claimed that the kingdom was about one signature away from buying the studio outright. However, Matthew Bologna at Puck floated the idea that Saudi Arabia would only be backing Comcast's bid for WBD. When W is one of the letters in your acronym, it doesn't really shorten anything. Regardless of whose bid Zaslav ultimately accepts, the deal will ultimately face regulatory approval. Another reason fans of the Snyderverse may want to hold off celebrating a deal between Warner Brothers Discovery and Saudi Arabia is an added claim from Cosmic Book News' source. According to their information, Christopher Nolan is also set to return as executive producer of a future Snyderverse project. Without confirmation from anyone involved, some might say this is too good to be true, depending on one's perspective. Even if you are a fan of the Snyderverse and the Christopher Nolan verse, I don't think you want to see the two come together. I think that's an oil and water kind of prospect. The funds required for Saudi Arabia, how would that even work? Never mind. I'm not going to speculate. The funds required for Saudi Arabia or any other studio to realign all the stars for another stab at the Snyderverse is almost unfathomable. And that's before even acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery and overcoming any legal hurdles. For now, all we have are unverified rumors and speculation. One thing I will say, don't quote me the odds. As long as money's involved and Saudi Arabia has almost limited funds, any of these hills can be overcome. You know, don't ever underestimate how well lubed things can be by enough application of financial lubrication. Just gonna say. Welcome, Sentai Ranger Donnie. Good to see you. And Wilkie's Movies and Music, getting ready to, as I set up my stream for Friday, going to make sure we come hang out with you afterwards, because that's what we do on Friday. Let me back up and see what all of you guys had to say about this little bit of craziness. Red Tails was the last film he made, if I am not mistaken. Okay, fair enough. I don't even know what that is. I don't think I saw it, which did not do well. Look, for an auteur, saying the things that Lucas said, he's not concerned about. He doesn't need the money anymore. Now he just wants to make the movies he wants to make. So it doesn't matter. But he's only slightly more motivated to do stuff than George R.R. Martin, to be honest with you. Lucas no longer makes movies. He just spends all that cash. Maybe he and Scrooge McDuck fill up a swimming pool with money and go swimming. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, never heard of it. I heard of it, but I don't know. I guess I thought it had something to do with red pandas or something. Hope everyone is well on this third anniversary of the passing of Power Rangers legend Tommy Oliver himself, Jacen David Frank. That is a shame. Yeah, that was kind of a kick in the gut when we heard about that. But yep, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. A sorrow shared is a sorrow halved. This is a classic movie when it comes to making a big sale. Make lunch just rumor about Saudi Arabia with deep pockets, with an interest in buying the Warner Brothers to make the buyer you want to pull the trigger. Yeah. He's look, this is what he did, and against all reason, it actually worked. The hashtag release the Snyder Cut, he was behind that. He pushed that, and it worked. He's just using the same method now, right? Oh no, now I have a terrible, horrible, bad, terrible, horrible idea. Yeah, there you go. I don't think this is Zack Snyder, but David Zaslav. There could be an element of that. Keep in mind, I don't think Zaslav specifically cares about selling to Saudi Arabia. He's just playing the, hey, I got something to sell. How much are you willing to give me? Well, I got these guys over here too. You know? Do I hear twice as much? Do I hear 3 times as much? You know? That's kind of smart. I don't blame him for that. All the heroes are dressed like characters from Arabian Nights. You know, I don't think that would be such a bad thing. Not that I'm saying they should take the Justice League and turn them into, Arab characters. I'm saying I would not be opposed to seeing a superhero team based in Saudi Arabia, with their lore. Those characters have existed in DC Comics before. I would be fine with them doing a whole series of movies. And it could be done with the assistance of Nolan and Snyder. And you can have it be insulated enough from the stories in the West that, it could be in the Snyderverse, it could be in the Gunverse, it could be in any verse. The point is, they're DC characters set in Saudi Arabia. That would be smart. That would actually be really, really smart. Yes, that's what I assumed you meant. And yes, I agree with you 100%, Nate. Exactly. This story is definitely interesting, if legit. Yeah, neither good nor bad, just interesting. Speaking of Dune, have they said anything about the third film? There's been quite a bit. You should absolutely be following Nerd Cookies. She is the front line on news about the third film. What's Sparkly Bat's name? Pattinson. Robert Pattinson? Something Pattinson. Is being billed as the big bad from the movie. He's playing, and I'm forgetting the character's name, a face dancer, shapeshifter. So Nerd Cookies was kind of speculating on how much he'd actually be in the role, because obviously, as a shapeshifter, he's going to be taking different. He's going to be played by different actors at different times. One of which I believe is Momoa's character, I think. So yeah, he. So that's very interesting. It's been kind of an up and down of concerns versus okay. There was a lot of speculation that he was going to be jamming a lot of stuff from Children of Dune into what should just be an adaptation of Messiah, and it's starting to look more and more like he's got some precognitive visions of things that would be happening in Children of Dune in this movie, which is good storytelling. Great way of shaping what comes after if they decide to do another movie that he's not a part of. Yep, Saudi Arabia has the money. Heck, I bet they have the money to more money than Disney. Right now, most companies have more money than Disney. Disney is not cash rich by any means any longer. What people used to call too big to fail is on the brink of failure. You don't realize how poorly Disney is doing financially right now. They are absolutely being propped artificially. It cannot stand on its own. At this point, Google Netflix has trillions of dollars to their billions, arguably. That's why this whole ESPN thing is just almost laughable. Almost laughable. Throw enough lube and it will get you places. That's absolutely true. I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised. Yeah, well, sometimes these articles are eyebrow inducing, right? Red Tails, sequel to Red Dawn. Interesting. Yeah, I suppose theoretically, right? I used to play piano by ear, but now I use my hands. Yeah. I quit smoking cold turkey because I couldn't get the damn cold turkeys lit. But there you go. Making Arabian Nights movies actually could be cool. I would love to see that. Hell, they could do... Oh, jeez. This would be so freaking brilliant. A whole studio should be doing a series of movies at the same time. You could do 1001 Arabian Nights, right? You have one group doing filming of Scheherazade and all the framing stories to be picked up and interspersed with the individual stories being created by other people. It would be freaking brilliant. And you could point Disney to them and say, that's how you do stories of other cultures. Okay? That's how you do it. Quit taking Anglo, Western, European folklore and just casting tokens in it. You know? Anyway. Agreed, Troy. I think that would be an interesting concept to have different characters and maybe have some of the main DC heroes or villains show up. Yeah, exactly. Exactly my idea. Look, this last James Gunn Superman, starring James Gunn, written and directed by James Gunn, produced by James Gunn, took place in fictional Middle East countries. That would be perfectly awesome, fair game for Saudi Arabia to develop those fictional countries, you know, and be able to do, you know, stories about, you know, intrigue and conflict between them and stuff. Heck, you don't even need to really get into a lot of superhero lore. You could do a lot of, you know, cloak and daggery type stories, you know? You could do some really good stuff there. Well, anyway. Know a guy named Dave Rover had half of his face blown off, so he has a prosthetic ear. For his act, he takes it off and plays piano by ear. That's funny. That is funny. Let's see. Dune, Goth Star Wars. It is no secret how much of Star Wars was inspired by Dune. Just look at the Sand People and Tatooine and all of that, the weirding way and the Force, the whole two clans fighting against each other, you know, Luke, I am your father, all of that stuff. Yeah, Muad'Dib, exactly right. The whole Anakin, Luke Skywalker thing, you know, no doubt about it. Let's see. Disney does not have any more liquid capital. That financial bank is a desert now. Yeah, exactly right. Sucks when you lose your infinite USAID funding. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there's still Soros funds happening. That's probably the only thing that's keeping them alive. That and maybe a little bit of BlackRock and whatnot. But even that's starting to dry up too. Take care, Horror King. Thanks so much for stopping by. Yeah, we're wrapping it up anyway. That's right. For a while, the Joker was ambassador of Iran. That's absolutely true. Welcome, Joe's Atmosphere. Why don't they just rehire Cavill and place Superman in anything? Is beyond me. That these people running these studios are stupid. So here's the thing. As they were making this transition from the Snyderverse to the Gunverse, there's a lot of botchedness there, right? Look, I don't care about any of the crap that's on their streaming service. The I almost called him the Punisher, the Peacemaker, and all that other crap. Call it Snyderverse, call it Gunverse, call it whatever you want. Nobody cares. That's barely canon because it's hidden behind a paywall and nobody's seen it. Okay, but Warner Brothers, not DC, but Warner Brothers, has this idea that if you cast Henry Cavill as Superman, then that's the Snyderverse version. That's his brand. Remember, it's kind of like the whole 20% difference in Star Trek. You know, if Chris Pine is playing Kirk, then that money goes to J.J. Abrams. But if it's, you know, Shatner, then it goes to Paramount CBS and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's actually more complicated than that, but that's the basics of it. And so you have brand recognition within the DC Comics, that there are legal implications to that. So the idea of Henry Cavill being recast as Superman is a problem in and of itself. They also believe it causes brand confusion, because having different brands within DC Comics is incredibly confusing. We shouldn't have all these different verses within DC. Superman should be Superman, but he's not. That is the problem they've created for themselves. Great way to divide and divide and divide and subdivide your fan base. I just don't like the idea of an American franchise being owned by a foreign country. Agreed, but that's also why the Regulatory Commission is going to be involved in this. That's partly something that was referred to here. Overcoming any legal hurdles, you see it say right there. You know, that's what they're talking about. And yeah, after Endgame, I haven't really been invested in comic book films. Yeah, that's Marvel. But yeah, because it was already starting on the downside of that peak by that point. So, anyway, I'd say that's probably enough on this. That's enough WTF for today. I want to thank you guys so much for spending your lunchtime with me today. I know you guys could be anywhere and you chose to be here, so I greatly appreciate you. I want to thank especially today Nate and Curtis Selby, the producers, the executive producers of today's show, and just the solid bedrock that this channel is built on. Could not do it without you guys. So super appreciate you guys. And I got nothing today. Maybe stop by Doomcock and say hi tonight for Pop Culture Breakdown. I actually don't even know if I have a D&D game today. I got to check and see if that's happening. Am still working on my next Cantina-related video. I kind of mentioned it earlier in the stream. And I got a couple of other ideas for the channel that I need to put into effect. But guys, I want to thank you all so much again for hanging out with me. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please share out my channel and streams to your friends and ask them to subscribe. Help me get to that 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Okay? And with that, I'm going to say salud, take care of yourselves, be safe, and drink responsibly. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.